Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, we're discussing a late 90s version of a timepiece that deserves your consideration if you're shopping for a perpetual calendar chronograph from a premier brand. I give you the Breguet 5617. Originally launched as a different reference in the early 1990s, there were changes over the years, including some subtle revisions to features like the crown, which now features a signature, the originals didn't, the caseback, which was originally not display style, and also the hallmarks, which were previously the pre-August 1st, 1995 style. This is post-August 1st, 1995. The presence of the 5617 reference number and the signed crown indicating that this was probably made towards the end of the line around the turn of the century. So the watch in my hand, in yellow gold, measures an eminently wearable 38 millimeters in diameter, 11.2 millimeters thick, 46.7 from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. Another feature characteristic of the later watches, you can see how we have little faces on the moon. Well, there we go. So face, display case back, new reference, later hallmarks, signed crown. Again, I'm very confident placing this watch's manufacturer in the late 1990s. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. And the strap is super stiff. It hasn't broken in, so I'm pulling it a little bit tighter than would be necessary. As it softens up, you'll notice just how well this fits my wrist. The lugs are well inboard the edge of my wrist, so I can envision a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference wearing this well. It is not a thick watch. Just looking at it in profile, 11.2 millimeters, but also with a sloped case flank, so it will slide underneath the dress cuff. The strap is surprisingly beefy, very thick cuts of alligator leather and a high-quality cut of the animal. Large rectangular symmetrical scales, best of the best as far as alligator hides go. Semi-gloss finish, medium brown. We have a contrasting stitch. The edge is actually folded rather than cut. You can see calfskin on the bottom, no crimping, no gouging, a brand new Breguet factory strap. And here we have a matching Breguet single fold friction fit clasp design. We have a little bit of knurling on the side to make that easier to grip. And you can see that screws and bars fix the strap to the buckle, secure, I like it, no spring bars, and then screws and bars fix the strap to the case. Again, I love that. I don't trust spring bars anymore. On a heavy, expensive watch, I like to see a bar and screw system for absolute security. More expensive, yes, but this watch is worth it. The lugs are beautifully welded to the case. When you have that super sharp break between case and lug, you know that the lug was welded on. Filing was performed to remove the gathered material from the weld and leave that super sharp break. We also have a cold rolled coined case, so you can see this coining in profile. That's achieved by cold rolling and then hand finishing in a jig. You can see we have a little flange at the edge of the bezel and then another flange at the edge of the case back. You can also see that the case back is stepped in somewhat, so this watch sits even lower than its measured thickness when it's on the wrist. We have that signed crown. So just keep in mind that older Breguet watches would have featured an unsigned crown, and then much before that, there would have been a little sapphire cabochon. So this is indicative of late 90s. You can also see there's a kerf underneath the crown where you can dig your nail in to withdraw it for operation. The dial made of solid gold and true rose lathe and straight line machine guilloche, making this dial a work of art and a laborious one at that. Now the dial is a solid gold plank that's then cut. It's then silvered, and then all of the features are added by transfer. We have stylized Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4, Breguet style hands for the hours and the minutes, several different hand styles as you can see for the sub-registers, and a counterweighted Lancet-style chronograph seconds hand, perpetual calendar, so no need to correct the watch until the year 2100, provided you keep it running. The moon phase needs to be adjusted only once every 122 years. The watch features a couple of coaxial registers. You can see we have chronograph minutes with instantaneous jumping minutes, coaxial with our date. We have our day, coaxial with our running seconds, and then we have coaxial leap year, phase, and also the months of the year. Now, worth mentioning, the dial is a beautiful cruciform symmetry, truly special, and the inside of the bezel has been polished to reflect light back onto the dial. This solid gold artisanally cut dial is a work of art by itself, and that's before we get down to what powers it, which is based on the legendary Lamagna 2310, as the Omega 321, relative of this movement, went to the moon. But as autologerie, the movement has found its way into Patek Philippe, Breguet, Roger Dubuis, and many others. It's a true high horology manual wind column wheel lateral clutch chronograph. 2.5 hertz beat rate. It's adjusted in a chronometer style 5 positions. Pivots on 21 jewels. You can see column wheel and lateral clutch in action. We saw the instantaneous jumping minutes before. And the feel of the column wheel is among the best I've ever experienced. 48-hour power reserve. You can see we're going to get close to the balance now. An enormous balance that makes up in mass and inertia what it lacks in beat rate. You can also see the use of a Breguet overcoil hairspring to ensure that this watch will keep consistent time in any physical orientation with respect to gravity. And another feature that's actually an extension of one of the curb pins, which is a hooking guard to prevent the overcoil from getting hung up on the regulator under conditions of shock. The finishing, it's as good as you'd imagine. All this is 30 meters water resistant, so please don't take it swimming, but for all other occasions, you'll be happy to have it with you. We have satin and beveling on all the steel parts. You can see we have stripes and beveling on all the rhodium-plated brass, the bridges and the plates. You'll also appreciate that all of the jewel sinks are internally beveled, which is a gorgeous treatment. All screw heads are black polished, with chamfered slots and circumference. The clutch is particularly attractive in detail. And if you get very close to the wheels, you can even see they've been slightly beveled internally. And it is deeply satisfying to look at this watch either with the naked eye or a loupe. If this were a Patek Philippe, it would be priced deep into 6 figures. These will not always be a buy, but for now, the opportunity remains. Add a top brand, artisanally crafted dial, case, and movement Perpetual Calendar Chronograph to your collection. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.